Thank you to Principal Mincy, Newark Public Schools, and the Science Park class of 2020. It is my great privilege and the greatest privilege of my career so far to be asked to commence the graduation of this class. This is all the more special because I'm the first teacher in a very long time to give a commencement speech for this school. Before I really start this commencement, I expect one thing you've learned here at Science Park is to always be a skeptic. Why is always the most important word. Always question truth claims, even the ones I'm making tonight. Do not assume that I am right or wise. Analyze what I am saying. The world needs sheep, people that uncritically act, consume, and believe, not willingly choose to be one. Yes, it pays to have an open mind, but not so open that it falls out, or that others can walk through it with their dirty feet. And the bigger the institution, a government, a religion, a philosophy, an ism, the more questions you have to ask. We are all here in different capacities tonight to celebrate this class. But of all those roles, we all share one, a fan. That is my role tonight, to be the biggest fan of the students here. Besides this role, what's my actual job? I think I'm here to give you advice as you cross this, as Joseph Campbell called it, threshold, this door into another era of life. The past is here and it must be met before the future can be set in motion. Graduation is the ultimate equalizer. You will all get a degree from this school, a piece of paper that says you endured for 4 years. What matters more than that piece of paper is what you learned, the education you received and chose to receive. Your educations are unequal. You all got different ones due to your free will and your individuality. And now you will go out into the world with your piece of paper and all the stuff you may or may not have learned. So what? Who cares? Does any of this stuff matter? The stuff you put into your brains, do you need it? Why is it important? Good. Those are the questions you should be asking. Captain James T. Kirk once said, "There are things we carry with us, the things that make us who we are. If we lose them, we lose ourselves. The things you do and learn are the things that make you you, that make you who you are. The more you put into your brain and life, the more you can perceive and the more you can exist." Okay, but so what? Does any of this matter in the end? Good. Like I said, you are supposed to keep questioning. I once heard a professor of particle physics get asked if he thought there was life on other planets. He said, "There is most definitely life out there by our scientific definition of life. Single-celled organisms and the like. What we mean when we say life on other planets is life like us, we humans, life that is intelligent and has free will, that can think, reason, love, hate, teach, philosophize, use complex language, and form civilizations. Beings like us." And the particle physicist thinks per galaxy, there's probably 1 or 2 species like ours. So we are it. Perhaps alone in the galaxy, and maybe alone in the universe. Us. So let me ask you, what's the point of the universe? Of our solar system? Of the sun? Of the moon? Of Jupiter? Nothing. They have no point. They're just there. They have no consciousness. The sun doesn't know it's there. It doesn't know we are here. It will burn and shine despite us. You know what is the only thing in perhaps the entire universe that knows that the sun is here? Or that the universe is here? Us. We do. We and our little bit of consciousness. We're perhaps the only things in existence that can think, or at least think like we do. Like I said, the universe has no meaning until we give it meaning. It's like what the Flash said, life doesn't give us purpose, we give life purpose. We're the only parts of existence that can give meaning to anything, and therefore, we're the only things that have meaning. We are the only part that knows it's here. Because of this, we are quite literally the only important part of the universe. We humans are the most special things in all of creation. We as a species cannot really, in the end, be sure of much beyond our galactic borders. But as a species, we can be sure of one thing and one thing only. We are here and we were here. We have consciousness and meaning, and therefore we matter. We may be the only things that do matter. On top of the rare chance that we exist as a species, Statistically, none of us should be here. In the words of biologist Richard Dawkins, the potential people who could have been here in my place, but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand grains of Arabia. We know this because the set of possible people allowed by our DNA so massively exceeds the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I, in our ordinariness, that are here, we privileged few who won the lottery of birth against all odds. And on top of all of that, all of your ancestors had to be in the right place at the right time to pass that DNA on for millions of years in a row. So statistically, none of us here tonight, gathered together, should even exist. You know what we call something that exists and shouldn't? A miracle. So every person here, every one of you young people being celebrated, is a walking miracle. And I can't think of anything more special than that. And all of you are one more level of special. You have about 18 years of actuality and many more years of potential. For you now, the future is another great unequalizer. In their last alive meeting, Juliet hauntingly says to Romeo, "Thinkest thou we shall ever meet again?" We don't know what the future holds for any of us. And with the parts that are in your control, you get to do what you want with them. But of course, beware, for dark and difficult times lie ahead. There are always difficult times ahead. And you will not only be confronted with right and wrong, good and evil, but more commonly with the choice between what is right and what is easy. And it will always, at the end of all things, come down to individuals, the responsibilities they take, and the choices they make. And there will be pain, suffering, and loss. And all of this is haunted by the great fear that all we are and all we will ever be, actions, memories, feelings, experiences, ideas, moments, will be lost in time, like tears in rain. That is the hard part about being human, the fragility and the mortality. But the positive part, the part where we give meaning to all of existence, that is the greatest thing in the universe. So now, as you go into the future, the undiscovered country, you must not squander your potential. You were given a very special opportunity of unmediated consciousness that the rest of existence does not get. You have the potential to be music makers, to be dreamers of dreams. Please, for all of us here, for yourselves, and the rest of the humans that will come after, do not squander your specialness and settle for mediocrity. Your specialness is not a default title given to you just by existing. It's something you create with the usage of your cognitive ability. Do not settle for being and thinking like everybody else. The privilege of a lifetime is to be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Do not use other people's words, especially cliched ones. When you use others' words, you're using their thoughts, and you don't really exist until you have your own words and your own thoughts. Learn as much as possible. You will never regret learning. In fact, as once again Richard Dawkins said, "Isn't it a noble and enlightened way of spending our brief time in the sun to work at understanding the universe and how we have come to wake up in it? Take your brief time in the sun and try to understand that single sand grain of time you were born into. And hurry up. The mad scientist that killed Captain Kirk said, 'Time is the fire in which we burn.' He was right. Take your moments in time and use them well. What might be a minute or an hour of your time that you forget about could be something someone remembers for their whole life." I think when you read enough Shakespeare that he's trying to teach us two things about the human condition. The first is that as long as there's life, there's hope. As long as you are here and breathing and conscious and have free will, there's a chance for a better future. The past is a beautiful thing, but not as beautiful as the potential of the future. The second thing Shakespeare teaches us is that we humans, we are important. We are not just a speck of dust in space waiting for the heat death of the universe or the expansion of the sun. We are not just walking shadows, sound and fury, signifying nothing. We matter if we choose to. We are bits of consciousness, the only ways of perceiving the universe. The things we say and feel and do matter if we choose for them to. They echo out into reality and have importance. They are parts of the history of the universe. You are a contribution to reality. The world or its history has never been the same since you entered it. The shape of the universe is different with you in it. And like I said before, we humans may be the only things that do matter, that can make meaning and have meaning. That is the actual meaning of life. All of us individually are on our own quest to prove that we matter, that we are important, that we are needed. This quest will drive everything that you do. And what will make you happy in your life is to feel competent in what you do, authentic in your actions, and to form genuine connections with others. You matter if you choose to. Mattering is not a switch you turn on in your brain. It is not a way to feel about yourself or think or perceive the world. Mattering is a verb, as in to matter, mattering, mattered. Verbs are actions. They are things you do in the world. So for you to matter, you must act in the world as if you do matter, that the things you do matter and are important. Prove that the world needs you, and that your absence would be a great tragedy. Leave your fingerprints on it. It's like what Ray Bradbury wrote. Everyone must leave something behind when they die. A child or a book or a painting or a house or a wall built or a pair of shoes made or a garden planted. Something your hand touched some way so your soul has somewhere to go when you die. And when people look at that tree or that flower you planted, you're there. In a chorus of a John Denver song, he sang, "This is my autograph, here in the songs I sing." And John Denver, like Shakespeare, Tolkien, Twain, Keats, Newton, Einstein, Michelangelo, Picasso, Mozart, Armstrong, Lucas, Spielberg, like all makers, don't ever really die. They simply become their creations, words, ideas, art, artifacts, the things they left behind. Now with these last parting words, cross this threshold into the darkness of the future. Shine your light into that darkness and paint that darkness with your light. But what is that you say? You're weak and flawed and afraid? Congratulations! You're human. One small crack does not mean you're broken. It means you were put to the test and you didn't fall apart. And if by chance you are broken, then don't worry, because everybody, to an extent, is broken. Weak and miserable as you think you may be, you can still stand up to the terrible slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and the yoke of inauspicious stars and still prevail. And brave and beautiful people don't just happen. They're made through circumstance and growth from circumstance. And remember, no matter how terrible life can be, and no matter how much you may suffer, you are stronger than that terribleness and that suffering, because you are a walking miracle. You matter, and nothing is stronger than that. Your like will never be seen or made again. That beautiful, flawed, complex, broken, dreaming, searching, questioning, doubting you will never again be replicated. As astronomer Carl Sagan said, every one of us is, in the cosmic perspective, precious. Because you as an individual can only be sure of one thing. You are here and you were here. You have consciousness and meaning, and therefore you matter. The more you use your consciousness, the more you matter. And you may be the only thing that does matter. May you have good fortune in your quest of showing the world that you matter.